All right, so here we are. We've got our F-250 Ford backed into the garage with a 6.7 turbo. It's a 2012 Ford vehicle, and now I want to show you what we can do with the Encore with that new Bravo 2.0 software. So come on over and let me show you what we're going to do. All right, so now we're on the truck. You can see I've got the Encore with the latest Bravo 2.0 software. So make sure your tool is up to date. I auto ID'd the vehicle, and now let me show you a couple of things, such as where did they put the injector balance test? Let's go find out. It's actually under Read DTCs, not under Special Test. So I'm going to go to Read DTCs, and we can see injector electrical test as well as the injector glow plug test. Not where you expected to find it, huh? Let's back up to the home screen and let's go to Special Test. As we look through the Special Test, we're going to click on Emission Test. Now we can see all the ones we were talking about earlier, such as, let me put my glasses on, the EGR cooler bypass, engine idle shutdown, redundant injector duty cycle. So for all you expert Ford 6.7 guys, this information is impeccable and it's there for you. Remember, it's the latest Bravo 2.0 software. Let's go to particulate filter SCR test. Here is a regen suspension. Remember, we just talked about the regen suspension is for when I need to diagnose the rest of the truck without the regen kicking in while I'm doing my diagnostics. I can stop that, put it in suspension. Next up is the particulate filter dynamic regen. Next is the static regen. What's the difference? Maybe you need to use your service information and make sure you understand. But before I go any farther on a diesel particulate regen, I want to go see the last time that it regened, and I can find that in my data stream. We'll go back to the home button and now go to data stream. As you can see, all this information is right here. Well, let's go to emission data. Now select customize. I don't want to look through every piece of data. I can put it from alphabetical, slide it up and look for everything, and starting with D, right? So I'm going to look for percentage load. I'm going to look for soot concentration. I'm also going to look for bank 1 inlet pressure. I want to look for the last time that it ran, the distance or travel since the last, and there should be one more. Let's do the status so we know if it's ready to regen or not, active or inactive. Hit apply, and all the information I want to know is right here. And we can see the distance since the last regen was 370 miles ago. The other thing that we can see is that this truck traveled roughly 12,000 miles. What's that tell you as a technician? That tells me that this truck sees a lot of open road and not just local city driving. That's a good thing because you know that's what these diesels want. Your customers that do a lot of city driving, that's where you're probably going to have to do the DPF regen. You may even have the check engine light, or rather the DPF light, pop on the dash that says regen now. This is where you're going to find that information in the data stream. Let's go back to the home screen, and now we're going to go back to special test. Now I'm going to go to the particulate filter test, and I want to go to the dynamic or the static test. Let me show you real quick the difference. When I go to the dynamic test, it says if DTC 2463 is set, use this procedure to force the regen. Do you know that code? If not, you need to look it up. Let's go back and see what it says for dynamic static test. This one is the one that you would normally use where there's no check engine light or no forced regen light showing on the dash. See what it says? Run this test outside at least 4-foot clearance from anything else around the tailpipe, because the tailpipe can reach 932 degrees. Make sure you're not parked next to the trash can or a dumpster bin or another customer's vehicle while performing diesel regen. So now the next step is I need to put this truck outside and let's do a regen. All right, so we've got the truck outside. We've got the Encore plugged in. Now we're gonna follow the steps on the tool and we're gonna do everything it tells us to do. You may have already done DPF with somebody else's tool that isn't as intuitive as mine, but mine's gonna walk me through every step, what to do, what to expect. So the tool's ready to go. Let's get it started up and get busy. All right, so I put the tool into the cab so you can see the screen a little better. We'll start with special test. Remember, we're gonna go down to particulate filter, and then we're going to do particulate filter static regen. And as we mentioned earlier, we're just gonna follow the steps. It's giving us a warning to make sure that there's nothing around the vehicle. We've already made sure that it's clear. I hit continue. It's giving me a warning. Always perform manual regen outside of a building, keeping exhaust away from combustible materials, because the exhaust temperature and pickup bed get very hot and you can burn your skin just from the hot materials. So stay away from it. We're going to hit continue. It says, do not turn the ignition off or press the throttle or shift gears during this operation and apply the parking brake, which I already have. The vehicle is running. I hit continue. Here's another note. It says manual DPF regeneration may take up to 1 hour to complete. Press abort to exit test or to start the engine to continue. So I'm going to hit continue. It says the test will now raise the RPM to ensure engine has operating temperature. Warm up phase lasts 2 minutes. So we're going to hit continue. Okay, so we've edited the video because it can take up to an hour to do a DPF regen. Now that we're at the end of the regen, with idle is back down, allow the vehicle to set for just a couple of minutes and cool off. Remember, that exhaust is extremely hot, and please don't go near it until it has a chance to cool down. But there you go, that's the F250 6.7 turbo diesel DPF regen.